Hello Stampers, Michelle Zindorf here. I've got another card for you today, and this one I decided to show you a fun background to create for any big large flower or something that you want to put in front of it. And we're going to start with our background today. Now you can find all the dimensions for this card down below this video. Just click show more, or more I think it says now. You'll find all the dimensions along with all the links to the products that I use today. Now this big flower, it is gorgeous. It comes in the Magnolia Mood stamp set. Now this is an online exclusive from Stampin' Up. So you're not going to see it in a catalog, but you can order it anytime with any type of order. And I'll have it linked below, so you just click that link and you can go right to it. But isn't this wonderful? I just love this image. Actually, I love all the images. And it has some beautiful fonts for the sentiments too. Now you can pick up the bundle and get the dies, and you'll save 10% on the two together. This is the Magnolia Mood dies. And here they are here. Now they cut out all the images on the stamp set, plus you get additional ones that will cut out some really cool images. So there is that. And so the Magnolia Mood stamp set and the Magnolia Mood dies. So we're going to get going here. And like I said, we're going to start with our background. So I have a 3 3/4 by 5 inch piece of basic white cardstock. And we're going to start by tearing a mask. And we're going to need a mask. We're going to mask this side of the cardstock, and we're going to rip like a jagged tear in just a scrap of cardstock. This is just a scrap of crumb cake. You can use any color, it doesn't matter. But this is, let me see how big I have it here. It's 6 by 3. And I just wanted to make sure I had enough cardstock here to cover what I want to in this. So we're going to start over here on the edge. Oh, I'm about a 1/2 inch from the edge there. And I'm just going to make like some waves as I'm tearing. And come way out and then go back in. All of them are going to be different. It just depends on how you tear the cardstock. And you can angle this any way you want to. Like you can have it straighter. I think I want it more at a slope here. So I'm going to start it like this. And then I'm going to start with my lightest color for that side. And I decided to use soft seafoam ink. This is just a beautiful soft green. I'm going to use a blending brush for this also. And I'm going to put this all over this side of this cardstock here that's unmasked. Now you have to hold your mask in place. And if it moves, it's not a big deal. You just put it back where you had it. So there's our light green, which is soft seafoam. Then I'm going to go a little darker with our green. And I'm going to get some Old Olive out here. Grab another blending brush. And with the Old Olive, I'm going to take it and I'm going to go along the edge here. So far, super simple, right? Our next color, we're going to add some brown in here. So I'm going to grab some crumb cake and a blending brush. I'm going to hold my mask again. And I'm going to add some of this. I'm going to do like little sweeping motions here, just along that bottom part. Now you can put it anywhere you want to. I'm going to add some coming inward. And I'm like doing this with my brush where I'm like doing a swooping motion and it gives you some like lines on your paper. Now that's a fun little background right there, I think, and I think I'm done with that side. I'm just going to remove my mask and see how that looks, just like we've got a torn piece of paper on top of it. So you can use this background any way you want to. It's just a fun way to just give your card something special. So now we're on this side, and I'm going to use some petal pink on this side of the cardstock. I want it to look a little different than the greens that we have going on elsewhere. Now this I'm not using any type of mask for. I'm just adding some of this petal pink in here. And because we have that darker old olive there, if you go over that little line there that we have where our mask was, it's not a big deal because you can't really see it because of the darkness of that old olive. Well, I think that's fun. Now to keep this a little different, I'm going to put some Lost Lagoon in next. Grab another blending brush. I'm going to turn my cardstock this way. It makes it a little easier to work on this. And I'm just going to drag that Lost Lagoon in. And drag it right into that pink. I think that's kind of pretty. We're going to have Lost Lagoon in our flower too. I'm just going to use some of these colors, bring them into my flower. That way everything kind of coordinates with each other. Let's add some crumb cake. And I'm adding the crumb cake just to kind of coordinate with the other paper, the other side. And I'm just adding some here and there. I don't want to wipe out all that Lost Lagoon because that's really pretty. So I have the crumb cake out here. We're going to use a stencil. Now with this one, I use this, one of the stencils from the 4-Square Decorative Mask. And it was this stencil right here on top. Now this pack is getting ready to retire, so if you want it, you'll want to pick it up soon. But you can use any decorative mask on this. So I used this one on my sample here, but I think I'm going to go a different direction. We have some other great stencils in here, and I think I'm going to use this one. So let's see how that works out. And with these masks, you don't have to worry about going too far or anything because you can see right through them. So I'm going to add this with this crumb cake. And I don't want to do, I don't want to go over that line that we've put in there. I want this to look more like fabric. So I'm just lightly going over some of this. And I'm kind of leaving a little gap between my design and the edge of the paper. Oh, that turned out pretty. I really like that. So see how that came in there. I love that look. And let's just get crazy with this one. On this one, I left this edge with nothing. But we could use another stencil from this pack and add something to this other side. That might be fun. So I'm going to use that crumb cake again. And I'm just going to add a little bit of that design there. So these look like faded fabrics that are just kind of on top of one another. So there you have the background. And I kind of like that, having a little something over here too. So you can just let your imagination take you wherever you want to. So see how different these two look since I picked different stencils. So those decorative masks are so economical for as much uses as you can get out of them with making backgrounds. Using them on your envelope flaps. There's just a million different ways that you can use them. Okay, there's our background. We're done with that. We're going to set that aside. I'm just going to grab a piece of basic white here, and this is a 4-inch square. And I'm just going to stamp our flower from our Magnolia Mood stamp set. And I'm going to stamp it in Memento Tuxedo Black. Sometimes these large stamps, I like to just have them upside down and press my pad into them. That way I can make sure I have everything inked well. And we're going to cut this out so it doesn't matter which way you stamp this image on your cardstock. Look how beautiful that is with all the shading in there. It almost doesn't even need colored. And I'm going to stamp it one more time. We stamped it on there, and now I'm going to stamp it with that Memento Tuxedo Black again. And I'm going to stamp it on my paper here where I want my flower to be when the card is finished. And you're going to see why here in a minute. So I'm just going to turn it so this flower is kind of going upright. I'm going to add it right there. And really the main purpose I stamped that there is because I want that stem. And we're not going to cut it out. We're going to cut this image out. Now you can die cut this out and just put it on there and not do that step of stamping that. That's fine. I don't like any edges on this particular flower for this project. So I'm going to fussy cut mine out. But it has a great die in that set if you like die cutting. Okay, so we're going to grab some colors here. We're going to get to coloring. Now I have the Stampin' Blends. This is Dark Soft Seafoam. And so I'm going to use the brush end of this. And this is, I'm going to take almost to the top of each petal here. I'm just going to leave a little hint of white at the top of each petal. So I'm going from the bottom towards the top. But I want that white up there at the top. So it acts more like a highlight on your petals, which is really pretty. There we go. Oh, a little more here. I forgot this bud. Gotta get some color on it. There we go. So that was the Dark Soft Seafoam. And next I'm going to add some of this light moody mauve to go with our Magnolia Mood Flower. So I'm going to use the brush end of this also. Like I said, this is the light. And I'm going to add this here at the bottom of each petal. And I'm doing like a little flick here. And I'm not covering all that soft seafoam up. I'm just adding just a hint to each little petal. Add some to the bottom of that bud. And we're just going to do each petal, the bottom here. Because you're leaving that light at the end of each petal, you don't have to worry about your petals looking like they're running together because you have light and then that real dark. Kind of separates things. Okay, so we have that in there. Now I'm going to color all my leaves in with this light Lost Lagoon. I'm going to use the brush end of this again. I'm going to just color those leaves in all together. These leaves have such great shading in them. It's amazing. I was talking with a friend the other day and we were talking about how the stamps from Stampin' Up! Have come along. They've come a long way, baby. They are just stunning now with all this shading that they've added to them. It really helps with your coloring. You don't have to figure out where the shading is. It's already built in. Okay, so that was the Light Lost Lagoon. Now we're going to go back to this light moody mauve. And I want to add some of that in here to coordinate with our flowers. So I'm just adding some to the tips of the leaves. And I'm kind of going the way of the veins here to make like a little triangle at the end of each leaf. And there is our beautiful flower. It's colored in. That was so super simple. So now I'm just going to cut it out, and I'm going to cut the flowers and the leaves out, and then I'll cut these two images out. I'm not cutting that stem. That's just too small for me. Again, you can just use the die and cut it out if that's what you want to do. If you're not into fussy cutting, I actually find fussy cutting very calming. Now, if you're fussy cutting, be careful of not cutting part of your images off that you don't want to, because it's going to have to fit over that image that we stamped on our background. And if you leave a little white, it's not a big deal because you have your markers you can fill things into. Now when I get to where it's got that stem coming out, I'm just going right over that stem because don't need it. And tell me below, do you find fussy cutting relaxing, or is it aggravating to you? I really like it. It's kind of zen for me. And I find that if I use my entire scissors when I'm cutting things, I use the blades and I turn the paper instead of trying to turn the scissors. And that really helps. Now with this image here, you have this little white section here in between the two leaves. Now to get to that, it's really easy. We're just going to go along this petal here, flower petal, and we're just going to cut that little piece of white off. And you'll see when we've done that, it's super simple. There it is, and it doesn't even look like you've cut through that. And plus we're going to glue it down. And it'll go right on our panel, just right over that design there. Now we still have these two little ones to cut out, which they're really easy. And as you see, as I cut things out, I cut the extra paper off occasionally because that makes it a lot more easier to handle. So there is that piece. And then we just need our little bud here. And we didn't have to worry about all that, cutting out that little stem, because we've stamped it on our paper. So think about that sometimes when you have little things that you don't want to cut out. You can just stamp it on there and then cover the rest up with your image. Okay, so I'm going to glue this on. I'm using some Mono Multi glue here. You use whatever adhesive you like to use. I especially like to use glue when I'm doing images like this. And I'm just going to line it up and add it on there. Give it a little press. Now if you're going to make multiples of these, I would just do all your stamping and coloring at one time. Then maybe sit in front of a good TV show and do your cutting if you like to multitask. And there we go. There's our beautiful flower on there, and it just looks like it's part of a painting instead of laying on top. So that's that. Now we're going to add some ribbon to this. That'll be pretty to bring in some Lagoon ribbon to coordinate with our flower and our background. I'm just going to cut a piece that's a little larger than our background is wide. Put it where we want it. Just flip this over, and then we'll use just mini glue dots and glue the little ends down here and back. This is the easiest way I've found to put ribbon on. And just adjust it in front. Then I need just another piece. I want to just put a tie here. So I'm sliding another piece of that Lagoon ribbon. And I love this ribbon, by the way. It looks like fabric. It's really pretty. So I slid that under the piece that we have tacked down and back. Just going to give it a tie. I'm going to try to fold the legs to where they go the right direction here. And then you can give it a trim. I have the wrong scissors for this. I should have my nice ribbon scissors, but they're not at my desk at the moment. So there. Now, if you find that your ribbon ends are sticking up in a way that you don't want them to, just get your mini glue dots out and shove a glue dot where you want the ribbon end to be. And stick it down. I think I'll put one on the other side even though it's not sticking up, and that way I don't have to worry too much when it goes in the envelope too. So there's my little ribbon ends. And that is my whole main panel done. Didn't take that long to do this. Now I'm going to take a piece of soft sea foam. This is 3 3/4 by 5, and I just want to stamp a sentiment on it. And I'm using the Happy Birthday, which is a really pretty font, and this comes out of the Magnolia Mood stamp set. I'm just going to stamp this. Oh, I think I'll use the Lagoon for this to just tie things in. Ink that up. And here we go. How would you like to stamp your sentiments towards the top of the cardstock or in the middle? A lot of people like to do it towards the top. That way they have room for their signature and another note down here. Tell me below, what's your favorite way to do that? So there is my sentiment for the inside. Now we can start putting things together. Now I cut 2 early espresso panels that are 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And then I have my card base that is Lagoon, and it's 5 1/2 by 8 1/2. Then I fold it in half to create my quarter card. Now for the front, I'm just going to take one of those panels, and I'm going to offset it to the left side and towards the top. And I'm going to say there's like a 1/16 of an inch, just showing a little bit of that cardstock there around the top and the left edge. There's a lot more of it here. And then we're going to add this on, and we're going to offset this to the opposite corner, the bottom right. Trying to leave the same distance that we have around our edge here that we did up here. Isn't that pretty? You don't just have to glue things right in the middle of your card front. You can offset them, and I think it just adds so much interest. And look at that beauty. I just love how it turned out. Now for the inside, I'm going to add my Happy Birthday Soft Seafoam panel. Let's add some love in that card. And I am going to center things up for the inside. I have an early espresso panel for that. That just kind of trims that out a little bit and adds a little weight to the back of the card. That way the weight on the front kind of is balanced with the weight on the back side, so you don't have a flimsy back of your card. It's all weighted really well. So there you have it. There's a couple different backgrounds. They look similar, but they're going to be different every time when you're tearing cardstock. So there you have it. Here's our project for today. I hope you enjoyed this project and that you give it a try. Thank you for joining me. Toodles.